to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good morning, everybody. I am stoked. Happy Sensational Celebrational Saturday. We are here today talking about next level co-parenting. I am the insightful, the inspiring, the incandescent Coach Ivy Allen. I help women renew their mind so that they can reinvent themselves, reclaim their lives, and redefine their families. All right. This is all after divorce. I encourage you to own your diva-ness and take the stage, right? That's what we do. Divas take the stage. I want to reclaim that word diva. You know why? It's gotten a bad rap. But divas were the lead singer in operas. They take the stage. The whole story revolves around them. They have to own the stage. They have to command the presence. They have to pull in their audience. They have to take the lead. If they don't take the lead, the whole production falls apart. That's what this is really about. It's about being the leader in your life. It's not about, oh my God, my dressing room is terrible and these people don't treat me well. It's just how it's kind of come to be. It really is about the person, and you earn that right. You don't get to be a diva in an aria because you're difficult to work with. You get that role because you're an amazing performer with an amazing voice and have something to offer to people that is going to change their lives upon hearing you sing and perform. They're not going to be the same once hearing you. That's how you get there. You don't get there because you're just difficult to work with and, oh my God, these people in my dressing room, I have to have Perrier water only. That's not what we're talking about. So I talk about being a divorce diva because I want you to own your stage. You're on a new stage. Your stage is new. Your life is new. This is brand new. You're not sharing the stage with your husband anymore. This is about you. This is about your life. This is about you becoming a leader. So take the stage. This is about you owning it. All right, today we're going to be talking about next level parenting. This is a great topic. I'm doing co-parenting as a series. So I think the first 2 weeks I've already talked about some do's. I talked about some don'ts. I talked about some do's. Today we're going to talk about next level so that you can move your co-parenting needle forward in a very positive way. This is important. So I'm going to give you my 2-minute speech here. This is about your kids. It's not about you. You are a catalyst in it. You are a huge player in it, but I'm here standing for children in the world. Children of divorced parents don't often have a voice. They don't have a voice because they're too young. They're not mature enough. They don't know how to talk to their parents. They don't feel like they're going to be heard. They probably aren't heard because when you're in the throes of divorce, often parents don't make it about you. It's about whatever they're going through. It is really important that someone stand for the children. This is my stand for the children. So I'm here to support you because ultimately this supports your children. Your children are going to go out there, they're going to get married, they're going to have lives, and the degree to which your divorce was positive or supportive or encouraging of their success in the world is the degree to which they will have that success in the world, or they will be working out the issues that you had in your divorce with your husband on somebody else's couch, which is not their fault and not their job. All right. So I'm here for your kids. This is about your kids. Put on what kind of parent do I need to be to ensure the happiness and success of my child? Like, not heal my divorce. That's your journey. And I'm stand for that too, but that's a different video, right? You need to be on your own journey for your own healing about your own divorce, which doesn't have anything necessarily to do with co-parenting and your kids. You need to be on that journey, absolutely. But when you're talking about co-parenting, this is about your kid. So put that hat on when you are engaging, thinking about co-parenting with your ex. What is the impact of this on the kid? Not how inconvenienced I am, not how much he irritates you or she irritates you, not how pissed off I am and they never did this and they never did that. Now they're screwing me over in my divorce. That's all your stuff. That's what you need to work through to be healed. But I need you to put on the hat of what is the impact of this on my child, right? So now let's get into it. Next level co-parenting. I wanted to share a couple stats because I thought this was really, really interesting and why it'll also support the angle I'm coming from. And also there's a lot of really cool resources out there that I totally did not have when I was going through a divorce that I wish we had now. All right. So I want to say this, 79% of custodial parents are mothers, which is an interesting statistic. And also, by the way, 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So I want to share that too, which is an interesting thing. And yet we carry around so much of the emotional baggage, blame, shame, guilt, and all that around with it. I'm not saying men don't, but I know that women do. I'm speaking as a woman. I am a woman. So that's the frame of reference I come from. I know men have their own journey, and I respect that. I know men carry around a lot of the same baggage as well. But interestingly enough, most of the custodial parents are mothers. So I share that to say, moms, ladies, divas, unfortunately or fortunately, it's on you. And actually, it's not unfortunate or fortunate. It's the way it is. If you are the custodial parent, you set the tone, you set the boundaries, you are the person that basically is in the seat of the decision maker because you have the custody. It's up to you. So you get to make this go really, really, really well, or be a stumbling block or a roadblock for it to crash and burn. So it's on you if you're the custodial mom. Now, if you're one of the 20% of the custodial dads, then it's on you. You set the tone. You set the boundaries. You get to ensure that your kid has the best opportunity for success and for showing up in the world as themselves, loved, feeling full and confident and positive about what they have to offer life. Interestingly enough, in spite of the fact that most women have the custodial rights, 40% of the states seek to give equal time to both parents. Once again, I'm bringing this up to say, you guys have to work together. Even if I'm the custodial mom, 40% of the states, most of the custodial agreements will seek to give the father equal time with me, even if I'm the primary caregiver. So again, you as the custodial parent, the mom or the dad, set the tone to make sure that your kid has equal access to the opposite parent. You know, I always kind of like to think of this in biologically. The fact that it takes a woman and a man biologically to make a parent, or a mom and a dad, not even being gender specific, it takes two people to do it, means it takes two people to parent, right? That's just, it's not an accident. It didn't happen as a freak of nature. It takes two people to parent because it takes two people to make a baby, because it takes two people to actually parent. You need support. Everybody needs support. Custodial mom, custodial dad, custodial grandparent, you need support. That's why they always talk about it takes a village to raise a child. That's why most child rearing, where humans are a tribal society, took place in tribes, because it was more than one person looking after all of these babies. You need that support. So 40% of the states realize that these days and are giving equal time to each parent. Take advantage of that. You know, if you're the custodial parent, partner with your ex around parenting to create an environment that supports you both in being well rested, well taken care of, having a really good life, in support of you giving a good life to your kid. You don't have to do it alone. So don't, you know, unless the person is unwell, meaning they have narcissistic or toxic or abusive or addictive behaviors that really are not in the best interest of the child. Any of that other stuff are just personality quirks. Everybody's got them. Get over yourself, get over them, and partner with your parent, your co-parent, to work it out. And lastly, the last statistics I want to share is that 37 states and the District of Columbia require a judge to consider mature children's preference in custody. So this matters also, because if you're that crazy parent that's always throwing a monkey wrench and stuff, if you're the one who's toxic, if you're the one who's addictive, if you're the one who's abusive, if you're the one with the personality quirk that no one can deal with, if you're the one who doesn't listen, if you're the one who is not open, who is critical of the other ex, the kid is going to be like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And if the judge asks me, I'm going to say I want to live with the parent who's open, who's loving, who's considerate, who thinks of me, who's trying to work with my other parent, who actually is able to make me feel open, loved, secure, and not like I'm walking on eggshells every time around them. Kids have a say. Kids are watching. Older kids have the right to actually express a preference. Now, younger kids don't, but that doesn't mean that as you move along and your kids age and become more mature, that they can't make their own petitions. And there are kids that are emancipating themselves because they're like, I'm sick of this BS. I don't need it. My mom and dad are driving me crazy. I'd rather be on my own and drive myself crazy. Then at least I can pull myself up by the bootstraps and get on with my life. I have no voice in the conversation with my mom or my dad. So it is really, really important that you take these three things into consideration. If you are the custodial parent, it's on you, boo. It's on you. You got to be the one to make a way to figure it out, because two things, most of the states are trying to give both parents equal rights, equal access to the kids. And number two, kids are being asked where they want to go and how they want this to go down. And if you are the crazy maker in the relationships, all in this family dynamic, you're going to be the one that's kicked to the curb, because people don't have to put up with that nonsense. Their well-being is at stake. And kids nowadays know that. They're being trained in that. They're being trained to talk about people who touch them inappropriately. They're being trained to talk about parents who don't treat them well or who are abusive and have addictive behaviors. They're being trained to look at well-being and stress. They're being trained to look at the totality of themselves. And if you aren't up to the task, they are being trained to drop a dime on you to whomever is going to listen, so that they can move on with their lives in a healthy way. And children deserve to live in a healthy, loving environment. You can't go around dumping your stuff on your kids. That's not their place. It's inappropriate. So I share that to say these are things that you need to consider as you move into these co-parenting relationships and as you take your co-parenting to the next level. It's not just about he gets them every other weekend and on Tuesdays anymore. It's not just about I have full custody and I don't ever have to let that bastard see anybody. It's not just about that. It's not like I don't want to have my kids have anything to do with that crazy woman and she's not a part of it. It's not just about that anymore, people. It's about creating an environment that supports the nourishment and well-being of your kids. And if you're not doing that, then you're doing your children a disservice and you're doing yourself a disservice. Every parent who's not self-involved, right, wants the best for their kids. And if you aren't forthcoming and seeking that for your kid, which means getting over your stuff, partnering with your ex in some way, shape, or form in a way that is healthy and supportive to make sure your kids have healthy access to both of you, then you're doing your kid a disservice, right? And you don't have to like the guy or the girl or the woman. You don't have to like them, but they're the father or mother of your child, and you have to give them an opportunity to create that relationship. Your kids can make up their own mind. There is no kid that as they age, don't really go, yeah, I see what mom or dad was talking about with that person. They get it. Now, they might not get it till they're adults, but they eventually get it. And in some cases, really, let's be honest, bad partners sometimes make great parents. They are great fathers and mothers, horrible in relationship. And let's even take it a level deeper. They're great fathers and mothers, and they were horrible in relationship with you. They might actually be great in relationship with someone else, but you and him didn't work. That's not your kid's fault. All right, so we want to talk about next level parenting. So I've got 3 things I want to give you for today for the next level parenting. I think I want you to think about this in conjunction of how you run your family. Now, I talked a little bit about the other one, and I talked about creating a shared vision or a shared mission statement, a shared goal that you need to have between you. I call it a vision because vision exists outside of ourselves. Often goals can be very personal and really only have to do with you. Vision encompasses everyone. Vision is big, vision is bold, vision is typically outside of ourselves, and it is so big that it trues you up to something more than just your everyday living, and I'm just trying to get through the day. I think vision is a better way to go about it because of that, because you can make it about your family. Goals can be very self-focused, or I want my kid to be happy is kind of a goal, or I want us to not yell at each other all the time or whatever. Vision is about, I want my kid to feel like they have an amazing family for the rest of their life. Is that so much bigger than I want them not to be angry, or I want them to have a good life? I want them to feel loved, supported by their entire family for the rest of their life, having free access as they would in any other family system or dynamic where we weren't divorced. It's a pretty big vision, right? That was my vision, where they would have a sense of family, a loving family, no matter what. And it would look like a family, right? Shared vision is important. It keeps you and your co-parent on the same page. And so, by the way, I'm talking about co-parenting in the context of in the aftermath of divorce, or some of you might be co-parenting, you never were married. Maybe you had a relationship, the relationship dissolved, or maybe you just chose to be co-parents. Same rules apply, right? Because some people choose to be co-parents and it seemed like a good idea at the time. And then they get into the co-parenting thing and you're like, yeah, he and I have nothing in common except for this baby. And which is all fine, but now we need to do something different, because while we made this choice because we both wanted to have a kid, because people are taking matters into their own hands, I applaud you for stepping up to make sure you have the life that you want. And sometimes the vetting process wasn't that thorough, because at that point you were like, I just really want to be a mom. This is the thing that I want. You pick somebody, it seemed like a good idea at the time. And when you get into the parenting piece of it, you're not on the same page at all on anything. And actually, which is interestingly enough, that is also true for people who are married. How many of you were married and then you realize in a healthy relationship, even when you were married and y'all were on good terms, or if you are married still, and you realize like, we don't think the same about anything about this parenting thing. We come from completely different perspectives. You can drop a me in the comments for that. Me, like, it's just, we have two totally different philosophies on things. And that's even for a lot of married couples have two totally different philosophies on a thing. Parenting is challenging, even under the best of circumstances. So if you're not together as a couple, it has its own unique challenges if that relationship dissolved under less than ideal circumstances. Now, for some people, it didn't, they made the choice and it's fine. For other people, they were never together in the first place, they were co-parenting. But the same rules apply. You're in a shared relationship where you're supporting a child or children, and you are co-parenting around for the well-being of those children. Create a shared vision, a shared mission statement, whatever you want to call it, because it will true you both up to why you're doing this and how you should make your decisions. Your decisions are based on this vision, this goal. Your decisions are not based on how can I screw him? How can I piss him off? I don't feel like it. This is really a hassle. He's never supportive of me, and all this stuff that we do, this back and forth that we do, because we've been inconvenienced. They pissed us off. They didn't call. I didn't like the tone of that text message and all this other stuff that we get into because we are in a bad place with respect to that person. When you have a vision, it becomes about the vision, which is not about you and not about him. It's about what the two of you are creating. The other thing that that vision does is it gives you context to have a conversation with them if one of you or both of you are not in sync around that vision. So let me share a little bit about what I mean about that. So say, for example, I think there was one time, I'll give you this is a good example from my own story. There was one time where I was just disengaged from the co-parenting process. I wasn't picking up his call for whatever reason. I'll be honest, I don't even remember the reason. It might not have even been a reason. I might not have just felt like it. Let's keep it 100. I wasn't picking up his calls. I wasn't coordinating activities with him. It was like a couple weeks and I just was checked out. I wasn't calling to check on her when she was with him. I was just checked out for whatever reason. And I can't remember why I was doing that. And he just pulled me aside and he said, I'm not really sure what's going on with you, but you're messing up. And I was jarred and I was like, what? He was like, you're not calling her. She misses you when you don't talk to her. You guys, I'm getting choked up thinking about this because I just was so not present to the impact on her. Whatever I was going through, I was in my own head about it. He was like, you're not calling in the middle of the week and she misses you and she wants to talk to her mom. And then when I call you, I don't know if it's because you're seeing my phone number on there because she was young at this time and you just want to blow me off and you think I'm not calling you because I want to chit chat and kibitz. I'm calling you because she's asking for you and you're not picking up the phone. You're not telling me about what's going on. You've been late for drop-offs and pickups. You're messing up, Ivy. This is not what we talked about. And he goes, and I don't care about it for me, but your daughter is noticing it. She's noticing you're not there, and she's asking for you. And when she asks for you and I call, you're not there. Now that, you guys, even telling the story, I'm getting all choked up. It was a dagger in my heart because I wasn't there. I wasn't present. And I honestly, I don't even remember. This is how whatever the thing was so insignificant to me that I don't remember what it was that kept me away from my kid. But I do remember the moment where he just said, you're messing up. And not because of him. He got the impact on my daughter. And this is the point. The vision was, we have an agreement about family. We have an agreement about access. We have an agreement about sharing information because it's in service of her. It's not about me. I don't care if you don't take my calls. I'm calling you because of her. I'm not calling you because I want to chit chat and talk about what happened on the latest show last night on the news. I'm calling you on behalf of her. And if you are not picking up my calls because you don't feel like dealing with me, get over it and deal with me because your daughter wants to talk to you. This is what I'm talking about when you have that shared vision. In the context of telling me I was messing up, he didn't tell me to throw daggers at me like, you need to pick up my calls, or you're just rude, or how come you don't take my call? Like, he didn't make it about him. The way he shared it was, you are, whatever you're doing, or in this case, what I wasn't doing, is impactful to your child. And I need you to see that, because I'm not calling you and trying to engage with you for any reason or no reason or whatever reasons you might be making up. I'm calling and trying to engage with you on behalf of our daughter who is missing her mother. That is impactful, but that comes out of shared vision. So you have the backdrop to have a very powerful conversation with your co-parent without making it about you and him. It wasn't about him and I, it was about her. And that makes a difference. So create a shared vision, because when one of you isn't stepping into that vision, you can have a really impactful conversation about that and what the impact is on your children, not about, he always does this and he never, because when you turn it into, this is what he used to do in our marriage, or this is what she used to do in our marriage, it's not about that vision anymore. It's about you and him. This conversation wasn't about our marriage. It was about our daughter and that vision. That's powerful. That's impactful. That makes a difference. Not this he said, she said, and tit for tat. All right. The other tip that I have for you, next level co-parenting, is create ways that you can be a part of events for the child together. It makes a difference for the child. What do I mean by that? Birthday parties, recitals, ball games. It is always better if both of you can be there, right? It just makes a difference for the kid. They don't feel like one of you has abandoned them. And I can tell you, as a kid of divorce, that's what it feels like. Somebody left me. Somebody was never there. Somebody dissed me. Somebody couldn't be bothered to show up to my stuff, whichever parent it is or however it goes down. And there may be one that's 51-49 or whatever. I think that's nominal. But if there's one that's like 80% there at everything, or 75%, and a parent that's 25% in there, your kids notice that. They feel it. And ultimately, again, that has them working some stuff out on somebody else's couch, because you're never available to things that are important to the child. Again, not about you and her. Figure a way to get over your stuff. Not about you and him. Figure a way to get over your stuff. But show up at your kids' functions and in ways that have you both be there and be civil in support of your children, right? Now, if you have multiple kids and they have multiple things and y'all are picking one, you just communicate that to the children. They understand that. And then next time you switch, right? So that there's equal access there. But make sure, to the degree that you can, y'all are showing up to your children's functions together civilly. Even if you sit on opposite sides of the gym, opposite sides of the auditorium, opposite sides of the game, whatever you have to do, but let your kids know that both of you were there in support of. Figure that out. Show up at shared events. It matters to your kids. It matters. No kid wants to hear y'all are so nasty and contentious with each other. Y'all can't even come to my recital for a freaking 90-minute session and sit there for me. You're not even here for each other. You're here for me. That's what your kids are thinking. I can't believe my mom couldn't come here because of my dad's bullshit. Sorry for the thing. But kids will, as they age, that's what they'll think. I can't believe my mom, my dad wasn't there because of my mom's BS, right? That's what they will think. And when they come down to that statistic I was sharing with you, with 37 states plus the District of Columbia start asking their kids who they prefer to be with, they're going to remember dad doesn't show up to half my stuff. Mom doesn't show up to half my stuff, or whichever parent it is. And they're going to pick the parent who's there for them, not the parent who's always checking out because they got issues with the other person. Find a way to create a shared experience with your children so that you both can show up to the events. Now, if it has to be separate but equal, and that's what y'all have to do, then do that in service of your kids. It's even better. Next level parenting is you both are at the birthday party. You both are co-parenting together. You both plan it, run it. Both of your families are there. That's next level co-parenting. That is, we created an event, a family event, which we would have done if we were still together, which we can still do as co-parents. His family and friends came, my family and friends came. The kid had a great birthday party because ultimately that's what it's about. Pony rides and balloons. Mom and dad were there. She or he feels loved. It was a great time had by all. It's 2 hours, people. It's 2 hours out of your day. You can do it for 2 hours. You can do it. If you're like, oh, I was planning on doing a cookout and making a day of it. Don't do a cookout and make a day of it. Do something small. Do something 2 hours. If it's difficult, make it work for you, but make it work. Your kids will remember these things. I'm telling you, I cannot stress it enough. They will remember that mom and dad were both there for every birthday party. That mom and dad were both there for every parent-teacher conference, that mom and dad were both there for every recital, mom and dad were both there for every game, mom and dad were both there for every karate match. They will remember this. It is important to them. So figure a way to create a shared experience around family events. Now, I know for some of us, your relationship is contentious, and if the way it looks is we sit on opposite sides of the venue, but we both are there, then that's just the way it has to look. Many times over time and over years, as those feelings, and you get, support, and you get healed, and he gets healed, those feelings go away or dissipate. Y'all can come closer together until one day you're actually sitting next to each other at an event. And it's really, really, an actual joyful experience. But initially, if all you guys can do is come to the event and sit on opposite sides of the gym, and y'all keep in touch and let each other know that if little Johnny wants to see me, I'm out by the back door, I'm going to find him and let him know that I was here. And you're like, okay. And when he's done, I'll take him home. Or I'm going to let little Johnny know that I was here and I came to the game, and then you can take him home. However that looks, do that in service of your kids. Be there for your children. It's not about you and him. Be there for your children. Create a sense of shared events. Now, for us, we did a couple things together. Every birthday party, most of the time I planned them because she was a girl, and it was all rainbows and lollipops and unicorns and all that other stuff. Was I supported? Absolutely. Like, I might have done all the planning, but we supported each other with paying for the expenses, pick up and drop off, organizing stuff for the venue, and all that other stuff. So I didn't feel I enjoyed planning the birthday. And there were some times where I was like, I'm sick of these birthday parties. I don't want to do them anymore. And he would say, I have one kid. I'm going to do these birthday parties for as much. And if you don't want to do them, then I'll do them and I'll pick out the venues and I'll do them. We had a shared experience, you know, after a while I got burned out on them and I was like, and he was like, well, I'll do some of them. So we did, and we did different things. We did different things every year. We were always present for her birthday. And the other thing that we always did together is we had a joint Christmas celebration. Christmas was huge. My daughter's a December baby. She had great Christmases, and we did it lots of different ways. I think when she was really young, we did Christmas brunch. And I think we kept up Christmas brunch for a really long time so that together we could do Christmas brunch with our families together. And then if our families wanted to have a separate celebration alone privately with their tribe, then we could do that. And we did Christmas dinner apart. So we did Christmas brunch. And the reason we did that is our daughter was the youngest grandchild. And so everybody wanted to watch her open her presents and enjoy Christmas. So we did Christmas brunch for many years because she was the one that was ripping off the paper and everybody was taking pictures of the baby and all this other stuff. So it was great. So we did Christmas and her birthday were the two family events we always did together, no matter what. And we did that from when she was little, and she had both sides of the family, and it was great. And we coordinated. Sometimes it was at his house. Sometimes it was at my house. It was at whoever had the space, whoever had the bandwidth. We each brought food. We each cooked. Everybody's family was there who wanted to come and participate. It was fantastic. Christmas and her birthday. So she had those special times, and we partnered and we shared most of her events. Any event he couldn't make for parent teachers, he did conference calls, so he was there. There was times where I videotaped things if he was traveling. There are times where he videotaped things if I was traveling. He would also do special things where he would come up to her school for things. I used to chaperone a lot of she'd asked for me to chaperone her field trips. So our daughter always felt, she never felt like it was one or the other. Like she always had to ask me, or she always had to ask her dad because somebody was not going to be around. The way in which we created it, which was this, again, truing ourselves up to the vision. What does a vision of family look like from a child's perspective? And it would be access to both parents. Both parents are there. Holidays are shared. Birthdays are shared. She doesn't know any different. It just feels good, like a good time. And that's what we did. And we did the same thing with the events that were meaningful to her life. Now, that's what we created. For some people, maybe it's too contentious for you to do that, but you can find a way around that so you both can be present. And maybe you work towards having them more shared and more familial experiences together over time. If not, then at least at the minimum you can do is show up, both of you, to every event in your children's lives, even if you have to sit across the room for it. And not because of any other reason, that it will mean something for your kid to see both mom and dad there. And ideally, you want to get to both mom and dad there being amiable and respectful. My parents had a contentious divorce, and sometimes them being there, if they were in their soup and their stuff, wasn't worth it. It sucked, because then there was always this kind of letdown at, oh, they both came, that's great. And then they would have some fight, and then it sucked at the end, which tainted the whole thing. And then all you remember is the freaking fight. If you have to come and sit on opposite sides to be amiable, then do that, and just try to make sure you're amiable. If y'all are going to get into it, then maybe y'all alternate until the emotional energy dies down and you can both be in the same space at the same time. Whatever you do, I want you to put on your hat from your child's perspective. It is meaningful for you both to be there if you can, but not if you're going to be at each other's throats. So again, not about you. What would be impactful, meaningful to your kid? And can you hold it together for an hour sitting across the way from your ex to do this? And even better, can you hold it together sitting next to each other in support of each other, being present for your kid? That's next level co-parenting. You both being there for everything, next level co-parenting. You both being there for significant events with each other, next level co-parenting. You both planning the events together, next level co-parenting. You both communicating with your child about what they want and how you both are going to support them, next level co-parenting. That's next level co-parenting. That's not the contentious way we all see on television and the drama fest that we go. It's really about you and your co-parent giving each other access to the child in a way that is meaningful to the child, and that you guys are respectful of one another. All right. And my last statement on this is more like a philosophy. Create a sense of one family. All right. So let me say more about this. I still talk to my daughter's grandmother, my former mother-in-law, and she is welcome. My mom still talks to my former mother-in-law. They talk to each other, having nothing to do with us. They have their own relationship. She sees her uncles. She's in touch with her cousins. I encourage that. There is one family. It's our family. It's an extension. I still go and support my nieces and nephews from his side. He still supports my sister's kids, his nieces and nephews from that. He is still their uncle. They feel that way about him, and they still spend time. They do sleepovers. My nephew does sleepovers with him on his own. One family, one family. This is next level co-parenting. It's not about my family, his family. It's about, for the kid, this is my family. And I go see my cousins, both sides. I go see my grandmom, both sides, or granddad, both sides, or uncles and aunties, both sides. There is access, there is love, and there's not all these, I got to jump through hoops and get through permission. And the only way I can see my father's family is when I'm with my father. And the only way I can see my mother's family is when I'm with my mother. No, you can see whomever you want, whenever you want, because we're family, one family. One family. This is next level co-parenting. This is, you get to spend time with your cousins because they're your cousins. This is, you get to go see your grandmother. Your grandmother doesn't have to call your father, who calls me, to make arrangements for you to go to see your grandmother because she doesn't want to call me and I don't want to call her because we got beef. It doesn't work. That's not one family. That's keeping holding on to all that contention. And then it gets because your kid has to listen to your grandmom say what she's saying about the way your mother treated your father, and etc. And you talk about the father's mother because of the way she, whatever, I don't know. I don't have that. She's a good woman. I don't have to say that, but I know people that do, right? And vice versa on my side, listening to my mom talk about her dad when she's with my mom, it gets icky and sticky. And what it does is it repels the children away from their extended family. I don't want to go see paternal grandmom because she talks smack about my mom. And I don't want to see maternal grandmom or granddad because they talk smack about my dad. One family. And the way in which we did this is, if we're, and we had a scenario too, where I think we were planning a family event and we were talking about who to invite. And I said this to him, and I said, if we're okay with whoever shows up, everybody else will be okay. They're taking their cues from us. They will feel awkward if my family's going to back my play. If I feel awkward about one of your cousins or whomever is there, even a date, a significant other, a new girlfriend or something, if I don't feel comfortable, they don't feel comfortable, and they're got their arms crossed, giving him the stink eye, and why did you bring her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like it goes off the rails like very, very quickly. And so what I always would say is, if we're comfortable, they're comfortable. And if they're not comfortable, it's their stuff and we can be okay. And that won't impact the kid. Why? Because remember, mother and father for kids, that's the sun, the suns and the moon. That's it. That's the whole thing. They get their cues from mom and dad predominantly. If mom and dad are okay with what's going down, even if the rest of the family isn't, the kid will be okay. Because the insulation is mom and dad. They're the protectors, they're the providers, they're the healers. They are making sure the kid is okay. If you guys are okay with whoever's there, with whatever's going down, kid's going to be fine, right? So you two have to be okay with whoever is showing up. And so we would just talk it through. Who are you inviting to the party? Who's coming? What family? What friends? This, and this. And we would have discussions about, is it appropriate for Uncle Johnny, who just, maybe is, not exactly the most friendly or kind or nice or whatever. You know, we all have people that have drug problems, maybe some people that have been incarcerated, maybe some people that don't have a job and are just users, maybe some people that you know, run through women or run through men, and they keep bringing a new person and it gets really weird. And, you know, they got, you know, everybody's got family drama. No shade. We all have stuff in our family that is not the prettiest. But when it comes to your kid, you think about who's coming and where your heart is with that person. If you got beef with people instead of having compassion for people, then you think about that. Is that the kind of scene you want to create for your kid's birthday party, right? Do you want to be working it out about how you feel about so-and-so's cousin or even your cousin? I wouldn't invite my own cousin that I had beef with because of whatever lifestyle choices that I didn't agree with. If she was, I don't know, like say she had a substance abuse problem and it was very likely she was going to show up not sober, I wouldn't invite my own family member for that. I just wouldn't. I was like, I don't want that around my kid. My kid is 2, 3, 5, 7. I don't need to take the risk that Uncle whoever is going to show up totally sauced and screw up my birthday party. I wouldn't do that. By the same token, I'd have the same standard for him and whoever his family was. And we would get aligned on that so that whoever was there, he's okay, I'm okay, and it's a good time. We don't have any issues. We don't have surprises and people bringing people. We didn't have any of that stuff. We talked about it because the idea was, you're okay, I'm okay, kid's okay, it's a good time. And everybody else just follows how we feel. Everybody else picks up our energy. If we have bad energy, bad juju about so-and-so being over there, my whole family is, what is so-and-so being there? I thought you didn't like her. Why ain't you done that? Everybody's all whispering over here. And it's a 2-year-old's birthday party. None of that needs to be going on at your 2-year-old's birthday party. Here's what needs to be going on at your 2-year-old's birthday party. Pony rides, cake, hugs, kisses, presents, a good time. That's all that needs to be happening. All this other adult stuff and drama doesn't need to be happening. So one family, create a space where your kids can have access to the family members that you and he both agree are healthy, are loving, are supportive of your child. One family. Nobody has to jump through hoops to get to them. If she wanted to go to her grandmother's for the weekend, fine. I'd call her, we'd make arrangements, we'd do that. I'd drop her off. I didn't go, well, I need you to drop her off at your mother's house. Like, we didn't have any of that. One family, I would drop her off. I'd sit and have lunch with his mom, catch her up on what was going on. She'd ask me about my daughter, things that I knew that her dad didn't know because she was with me part of the time. Same thing. He talks to my mom. If he sees my mom, he talks to mom. He comes to my mom's house for dinner. One family, one family. So those are my next level tips for you guys. To recap, shared vision, create one. It'll true you both up to something bigger and beyond yourselves. Shared events, right? Show up at the events that are meaningful in your child's life. Both of you show up to those events that are meaningful in your child's life. However you have to work that out. One family. Give your kid access to her entire family. Be willing to engage with members, even if they're not in your tribe, your immediate tribe, so that your daughter feels like, or your son feels like, they have access to their entire family, and not that they got to use the different conduits. And I'm not saying that they can't or shouldn't, but if he wants to go or she wants to go with their grandmother on the opposite side, they should be able to do that and not have to jump through hoops to do that. And remember, as they get older, they'll be able to do these things on their own. They'll have their own phones, their own access to a computer, and they can do them on their own. And you can train them. You can call your grandmother whenever you want. You don't need my permission to do that. One family, because that's what family is. It's one family. All right. So those are my tips for you on next level parenting. I also want to bring up, I saw something online. I saw a couple things online. There are now apps available that support co-parenting. I have not used one of them because my daughter is a grown-up now, but they're worth investigating. And I think one of them, if I can find what it was called, what was it called? One of them was called OFW, One Family Wizard. and I will do some more research on this, but I really liked it. And I'll drop the link in the comments. It's called One Family Women. It looks like it's on Google and iPhone. And it was really great because there was a lot of really cool features to it. So one of the great features that I'm going to talk about this, because I just think these tools are great to help you talk, to help you communicate. One Family Wizard it's a secure platform, so it lets you communicate between parents, right? So it's got a little feature called tone meter, so you can keep the communication positive and productive. There's a shared calendar. I think I shared with you. We used a Google Calendar back in the day. That's what we had. That's what I like. You can use Microsoft. Now it's Office 365. In this app, they also have an expenses, so you can share what you've expensed with each other. And then they have an information bank, so you can keep all of the important information with respect to your kids about that. So if you want to track, things like emergency contact information, medical history. How many of you have, this is an interesting thing, you go to the doctor and they're asking you about medical history and you only have your side, like you don't have the other piece of the information for their side of the family. So this app lets you put that kind of information in, insurance information, school schedules, photos, and then it gives you a moments section where you can record videos and photos of all the key moments and you can share those back and forth. I thought this was fantastic. And the other piece of it is it's a repository. So it's all inside of one app so that you can do this and you guys can communicate, share information, facts, figures through the app. I think that is phenomenal. I wish I had that back in the day, but you have that. So now there are these tools out there, and that might not be the only one, but that's the one that I found, and it is called, I can't even think of the name of it. I just saw it. What is it called? Our Family Wizard. Our Family Wizard. I will put a link for this down in the show notes. I've not used it, and again, I'm out of that particular piece of co-parenting, but I will see if I can get some more intel on that and maybe even get these the creators on to talk more about it. I think that's phenomenal. It is a great tool to support people in co-parenting, especially when their journey is just starting out. So I would encourage you to find tools that you can use if you find that your relationship is contentious, or even if you find that your relationship is good. These tools help facilitate more communication, deeper communication, the sharing of information, again, which is all in support of you raising resilient children that are contributors to the world community. All right, so that's what I got for you today on that. Now, for those people, if you're interested, you guys know that I am doing my program, Breakthrough Secrets to a Sexier Life After Divorce. This is for divorced moms. It is a course for women. Basically, it is about going from devastation to transformation, so you can claim the life that's waiting for you after divorce. So here's the thing that the one of the bigger nuggets that you get to move through. You get to let go of the emotional baggage around your ex, your divorce, and men. This is huge. This is what we work on. It is one of the first foundational pillars in the course. I don't think some of us realize there's your ex, there's your divorce, and then the big piece is there's the way you think about men. And a lot of women, we already thought this way about men before we got married and had an ex and before we got divorced. But we open up the box, yes, we create the space for you to get at that so you can get the healing that you need. I know a lot of women, once you're divorced, you want to be remarried, you want a second chance, you want an opportunity, but we also don't want to repeat the same mistakes that we had in the relationship before, or even if you never got married, or even if you got out of a situationship and you're still co-parenting with someone, you do not want to go back and revisit the same issues or date that same guy or marry that same guy with a different name because you're not past your issues in the relationship with respect to your beliefs, your baggage, your stuff around men. And we all have it. Everybody's got some beliefs around men and the opposite sex or relationships. We all have it. It comes from what we witnessed as children what we've experienced as teens, what we've experienced as adults, what we experienced in our marriage and our relationship with our parents. It comes from a lot of different places. But in this training, in this coaching program, you have the opportunity to look at the thing that you might not have been willing to see, you have the opportunity to intuitively, some of you know what it is, right? You know what it is, but intuitively, you're afraid to see it, to feel it, to actually open it up, look at it, and to unpack it because you're afraid of what you really might find, even if you know what it is. You get to be witnessed and not judged in this program. You get to be supported, but not told what to do. And you get to take responsibility and be empowered and not feel blame or shame. This is your opportunity to get the healing that you need so that you can move beyond. This is your opportunity to do what you need to do to move beyond where you are right now in life. This is your opportunity to get the healing to move on into your next phase of life. So if you're interested in actually unearthing, like really unpacking your beliefs and being healed once and for good, like this is it. I'm ready to take it on. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of attracting the same guy. I'm sick and tired of having the same kind of relationship with my ex. I'm sick and tired of having this awful co-parenting relationship with my ex. I'm sick and tired of believing crappy stuff about men. I'm sick and tired of dating crappy men even after my divorce. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of all the stuff that I have to deal with. Then this is the program for you, because this is the first thing that we work on for you to get your healing. You got to be willing to unpack your bags, empty the suitcase, and then drop the suitcase on the side of the road if you want to move forward in a healthy, loving way, not just with men, but also in relationship, also with your former partner, also so you can co-parent well, and also so you can be an example for your children of healing, of health. And remember, you got your relationship released from what you watched your parents do. Guess who's watching you do the same thing in your next relationship? You want to be able to set a good example for them as well. All right. If you're interested in this program, the link is below in the comments already. Breakthrough Secrets to a Sexier Life. I will also drop the call link in this in the comment section as well. If you are interested, you have Q&A, you have questions. There's Q&A on the page, but if you have more questions, you want to talk to me about it, please feel free to set up a Q&A call. I'm happy to talk with you about it. We start May 17th. May 17th. You want to be in this program. All right. Have a sensational Saturday. Get out there and do something meaningful, loving, supportive of yourself. I'm about to go to the gym. You guys, I've already got my Fila shirt on. You know I'm ready. On Saturdays, this is my gym day. I'm about to go get my workout on. I hope you enjoy the day. Do something loving and meaningful for yourself. I will see you next week on Coffee, Coaching, and Conversation.
I think to myself, what a wonderful world.